Good day, wherever you are. Welcome to SchreckTeck episode number 70. Here it is. It is August 14th.
Yay.
And here's our hostess, the one and only Gina Schreck. Hey, Gina, how are you today?
I'm doing great. Another beautiful day in Colorado. And the fact that we're 70, makes me feel a little older. So I'm having to put some concealer on this morning and dab that on. But yeah, I can't believe we've been doing 70 episodes, Rick.
70 episodes.
You're still, returning.
Can't get rid of me.
Yeah. Well, Rick, every time we do shows where we get excited about a guest going, okay, I finally found someone that has some content that I'm excited about or that I don't know. And it seems like I say that every single time. But Kim, our guest today is Kim Reynolds. And I have to tell you a little bit because Kim, I'm trying to remember if we first connected through Twitter or I think it was Twitter and then Facebook. And you know how that grows. You connect at different places. But I love it when I meet like a savvy, techie, entrepreneurial person who has ADD like me. Because, and the reason I knew that you did is you have like all these different business things going that are all involved in tech. And you are the CEO, the owner of, is it pronounced Quicker Me?
Quicker Me, yes.
Quicker Me, quicker.me. And I really got intrigued initially because of all the QR code stuff that you do with QR codes. But then I became even more intrigued when I learned more about the stuff you're doing with the pet and technology with the pet. So, yeah, welcome, Kim. I'm thrilled you're here.
I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you so much.
And then this morning, you blew Rick and I away again when you told us you have 8 children. No, 7. 7?
Well, 8. I have
8.
6 kids and 2 stepsons. And, yeah, that contributes to the ADD.
Yeah, you're right. Because I thought I have 4, and I'm always, wearing that badge of, oh my gosh, trying to juggle parenthood and then I'm shut up now. I'm silenced by you.
Well, my kids are all getting a little bit older. I only have one that's really little. He's 4, and he's the one I said I'm bribing with cookies to please don't come. They're not back in school yet. It's still summer break, and he's not in school anyway. So I'm like, oh, God. And then I remembered, I have the iPad with me. I can't even bribe him with the iPad. Wow, what was I thinking?
Now, Kim, just so you know, Gina and I are very bribable with cookies.
Exactly.
My daughter, which is very ironic because I have to tell you, my daughter is a type 1 diabetic. The girl can cook, and one of her best things is white chocolate chip cookies. So she can't eat them. She doesn't eat them, but they're amazing. So.
Oh, no.
I'll send some out to you. Yeah, she makes great cookies.
That is funny. Well, now, okay, so here you are, this mom of 8, and I know that means you are also a shuttle driver and, everything else that goes along with that. Yeah. How did you get involved in all the tech world? How did your journey start?
I was thinking about that actually the other day, and I've always loved it, and I think it goes back to when I've always been a reader and I always loved science fiction. And then when I was in elementary school, a teacher of the whole class, we all kind of watched Battlestar Galactica together. And she was an awesome teacher. She was amazing. And once I started watching Battlestar Galactica, I was just hooked on everything technology. And it just went on from there. And I love gadgets and, well, obviously I love QR codes. They fascinated me from day one. I thought, wow. Well, first thing I saw when I looked at them, I was like, what is that?
Yeah, what is that?
Yeah, and then I started thinking about the possibilities, and then the designer codes. Have you seen some of the cooler designer QR codes?
I have, just because last week when it wasn't you that sent it to me, but it was someone who sent it to you, but they copied me on it.
Oh, yeah.
And that was really cool. You
Yeah.
take like any picture, and then it put the QR code over the picture. That was cool.
Yeah, that was a different style. I'm gonna make you a designer code. I'll make you one this week and send it to you for your site and your show.
Oh, cool.
But,
So what is it?
Well, basically, a designer QR code is a QR code, but you can embed it in graphics, or you can just color it so that it is reflecting your branding. Or there's so many different things you can do. The only thing you have to be careful is that it actually is scannable when you're finished with it, which is the biggie.
Little details.
Little minor detail. But I love them because of the ability to brand yourself with your QR code. And I don't see a lot of people doing that yet, but I think that we will in the future once people become more familiar with what a QR code is, and they'll know to recognize it even if it's not the standard black and white. And once that happens, then I think you're going to start seeing a lot more variety in the codes being used on printed material especially.
So, Kim, here's my thing. So we've been talking about QR codes, I mean, for a couple years, even though they've been around for a long time in manufacturing. But for the last few years, we've been talking about it and seeing it show up in different marketing pieces, and companies are starting to get on board. And I still hear the skeptic saying, oh, there's probably 5 people in the world, and I happen to be one of them, who scans QR codes. Are you seeing that people are finally getting it?
Honestly, not in America, not as much as I believe they will eventually. I think the problem that you find in America is QR codes started being implemented, but not properly. But we're such a huge market and so much technology that people would use them randomly. Someone would try to scan it. There would be no value. It wouldn't go to a mobile landing page or website. It wouldn't give them anything of value. They'd have their URL and then a QR code that just goes to their website right next to it. And so people, I think, started looking at QR codes as not adding any value at all, so why bother? But I think that's changing as they're starting to be used more creatively, and they serve a real purpose, and now that people are starting to understand that purpose, they're using them better and adding value, which is, I think, important.
That is the key. I think too many times a QR code leads you to something that's, okay, I could have just seen that right here, instead of, like, I love when I scan a QR code like in a store. Probably one of my favorite things was the Buckle. All their clothes had QR codes on the tags. And when of course, I whip out my phone immediately and I start scanning them, but it took you to a video and it showed different ways to accessorize that particular. I was like, that is brilliant. Number one, to get you to buy other merchandise, but it was creative. It was really well done. And I like seeing creative. I mean, have you seen any that really stand out as this is the way businesses should use QR codes?
I know that at the museums down in San Diego that a lot of the exhibits have QR codes on them so that you can scan it and get more information. I think that's a good use. I actually had an idea which I thought was the coolest idea to use QR codes, and there's a company that basically rents designer dresses, and I thought, how cool would it be when they send these dresses out that they would add a QR code that people could scan and see other people that have, fixed themselves up wearing the same dress, how they accessorize, because I am not a fashion person at all. It's
right.
But if they could see how other people accessorize or how they look, it would be so fun to see other people with the same dress. I thought that would be a great way to use it. And, well, no one has yet, but hopefully.
I know, it's like we come up with these great ideas, you're going, but nobody's doing that yet. Yeah, it's interesting that I've seen practical uses that are really good. In Lowe's, I think it was Lowe's, they were doing all their plants had QR codes, and you could scan it and it would give you lots of information on how to care for the plant, so information you couldn't put on that little tag.
Okay, I do have a good use for that I've seen. Some manufacturers are starting to put QR codes on products for instructions on how to use. And instead of going and trying to find a user manual, they can scan the code and be taken to either a PDF version to download or to a website with the user manual.
Right. And that is a brilliant.
That is very good. And I think another excellent way to use QR codes that people should consider is when they have a product that uses consumables things that need to be replaced or replenished, slap the QR code on it so that they can either, one, go directly to your site to order the refills or accessories immediately, or two, so that they have the information maybe in a text message or a pop-up with the exact part number that they need, so when they go to a different store, they'll know, like vacuum cleaner bags, maybe, for example. You always, if you get vacuum cleaner bags, and maybe I'm just really not very smart when it comes to vacuums, but it would be helpful to know exactly what bag I'm supposed to be getting.
Right. Or better yet, scan it and it takes you to order it and it ships it to you. You know.
Yeah.
Now for those in the chat room or watching, what is the major difference between a barcode and a QR code?
One's made of bars and one is made of Qs.
No, but is there no, they're made out of QRs. But
yeah, QRs.
No, is there any major difference in terms of what they do?
Do you want me to answer, or is this a...
Sure, no, it's a question.
Okay. A QR code is a two-dimensional barcode, so it is a barcode. However, since you're working with little squares, instead of just being linear, one direction, it holds much more information, more characters.
Okay. So a barcode can only hold so much data.
Right. So a QR code allows you to increase that amount of data.
So it's the same idea, but they just allow a lot more data.
Yes.
Okay.
And I still get questions from people asking, how do you even get the scanner? Most smartphones either come with the scanner on your smartphone today anyway, or you just go to the App Store and type in barcode scanner, QR scanner, and they're free. I tell people never pay for your scanner because you might want to test a couple of them. They're free. Try all the free ones.
Right. I just went blank. I was going to tell you my absolute bar none favorite in the world best scanner for Apple products, and I just totally blanked on. I can't think what it is. Oh, QR After Crafter.
Oh, interesting. I haven't heard of that one. QR After.
QR After. It is the best.
Really? Now, why do you say that it's the best?
I have yet to find a code that it will not scan. Oh, well, that's not necessarily true. When I am making QR codes, I test them on a variety of scanners because I want to make a code that is scannable by the least reliable scanner.
That's
so,
smart.
Of course, more people will be able to decode it. But when I test using that particular scanner, it decodes everything. Even the most, I get a little too creative sometimes with my codes, and it will still always be able to read it. And then I have to kind of dumb it down a little bit for some of the other scanners to make sure that they can read it also. Always. And also it lets you make your own on the fly.
That's
which is
cool.
nice.
Well, I know that was one of the tips I used to give people is the more data you try to put into that code, if you're trying to put a bunch of information in there, it's going to make a really dense code harder to read. So keeping it simple enough that there's a lot of white space makes it easier to read. But, it just depends on what you're trying to take people to. And get creative, think outside the box, even if it's taking them to a welcome video or a video of you telling people about something. I think realtors aren't taking advantage of QR codes enough. I've seen some, but I would love to be able to go up to a house that's for sale and scan a QR code and take a virtual tour of that home on my phone.
Thank you. I agree completely.
Even cars, car dealers.
Amazing to me. It just and what I love even more, and not to sound negative, but why do realtors have websites that aren't mobile enabled? Because really, people are going to be on their phone when they go. And
that's true.
Yeah, but it's really a new way of thinking. This whole mobile first mentality really is new, and people are catching on, and just they need a little bit of time and education. They just need to be helped.
Yeah, it's going to take a while to, which is weird because it's like, take a while. Haven't we taken a while? Leva is in the chat room, and Leva is asking, she said she scans them with the HTC, and she always tries apps before she, obviously I always tell people, test the apps and see how it works, and then you can always download a different one. But can you repeat the name? But I think the one you had talked about, Crafter, QR After, is only iOS. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think I read somewhere that he's coming out with an Android version. I'm not positive. I haven't seen it yet. On my Android, I use QR Droid.
Oh, interesting. I use I think it's just called barcode scanner, but so QR Droid.
I use QR Droid, and lately on my Android, I've been using, oh gosh, Red Laser.
Red Laser. That used to be the favorite on the iOS for Apple folks, but then I heard a lot of people having problems with that.
I haven't had any problems, but I don't use it as my primary scanner on my Apple devices. I use it as a testing scanner, but the one I use is the Crafter.
Crafter. I like that's creative. Crafter.
The guy, his name is Kara Markram, and he is well, he obviously he's not Denzel Wave, so he didn't create QR codes, but he is brilliant. Amazing. He has a free website where you can generate your own codes, and I actually use his site to generate the codes because you can download them in an EPS version, which is nice if you want to then modify them for making a designer code.
Right.
And you have lots of different options. I think one of the best uses for QR codes that I never see really yet is using a QR code to just download somebody's contact information directly into your phone.
Right.
It makes it so easy. And on his site, there's that option to create a code with all of your contact information. So
that is a brilliant use that people don't take advantage of, and they sit there and try to type and get frustrated trying to type in their phone all of the contact information.
Yeah.
So creating a QR code that you could either, again, some people, and I have a QR code on my business cards, and I can remember people saying, "What's the point of putting them on your business cards?" I said, to me, I hate having to type in all this information. So, look for ways to be creative. Are there any other things that you think people or businesses could be doing? I guess we've talked about there's lots of ideas. And I have to give a plug to Larry Straining, who actually wrote a book. I can never remember if it's 110 or 111. I think it's 111. Is that right, Rick?
It's 100 plus.
100 plus
I don't remember
uses
10 or
for
11
QR
either.
codes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, getting creative and outside the box. What do you see as far as the future of QR codes? I mean, obviously you're involved in an area that not many people hear about, more customized and creative. Is that kind of where we're going?
I think eventually. Right now, like some of the codes I have a QR code gallery on Quaker, just of some cool custom codes for people. The majority of people wouldn't recognize that it's a QR code necessarily. So I think as QR codes become more visible, and they're showing up on packaging everywhere, once people start recognizing that shape and what it is, then you'll start to see more of the customized versions, because it'll be more widely known. There's a big debate, I'm sure that you read about this, about 6 months ago, where somebody had said, oh, QR codes are dead, NFC is it. And I thought that was really funny. At first I was like a little offended on the part of QR codes. I'm not really sure why, but
you start getting defensive for technology. You're going, wait a minute, I don't know why I'm trying to defend it.
I know that, but I thought it's funny because really it's kind of comparing apples to oranges. I love NFC, huge NFC fan. But you can't, it's a three-dimensional item, NFC, because it is an actual receiver, antenna, whatever. You have to have a little tiny receiver. Whereas with QR, you can print it. It's 2D. It can go printed on paper anywhere. It's free. And so I really don't ever see that NFC is going to completely replace QR codes. So NFC definitely is a complement.
And for those who aren't familiar, NFC is near field communication, and I think there's some big things going on with that as far as using it to pay for merchandise, and the whole Google Wallet, and all these things that are going on with technology. That I love that idea. There are people who are really paranoid about that, having their bank info. I love the fact if I can go to a store and pay with nothing but my phone, I'm in heaven. I love Starbucks because you can just scan your little Starbucks code. And now Starbucks and Square have partnered, so I think we're going to see more of that. But you're right, you have to have the receiver working versus a QR code. It can be on an item that somebody takes home.
Yeah, and like with NFC, they have the tags, the little paper tags, and you can stick them places, and that's great. But it's never going to completely replace a QR code. Now there might be alternatives that come out to QR codes, but really it's hard to beat that. They're free.
Right.
anyone can create one and easy to use, and the app to scan it is free. Plus, you can. I'm not saying that it's a secure means of transmitting data. It's not. However, I like QR codes for instance, luggage tags, because you can put your contact information QR code on a luggage tag. And yes, somebody can scan it at the airport and get your information, but it's going to be more difficult than somebody that can just eyeball your luggage tag on your luggage when it's going through the carousel or whatever.
Right.
So it's not like this big security measure. However, it does put a little bit of buffer between you and somebody just checking out your information that you don't necessarily want.
That is like the aha, I never thought about a luggage tag, and that is brilliant.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I didn't invent or anything, but I do have a cute line of luggage tags, so I like them.
Okay, real quick for the chat room, what was the website you said that you have all these the gallery?
Quicker.me, QWIKR.me.
Okay.
And on the front page, there's a link to view our gallery.
Quicker.me. Okay. I'm putting that in there. Okay, so is there anything else? Because I want to hear about the new technology, this new thing you're working on about pets. How did this come about?
Well, my partner, Jackie, is a huge animal activist. She has such a heart for animals and saving them, and it's really amazing. I grew up on a farm, so my experience with animals is a little bit different, but she's always concerned about pet safety, and she hates seeing animals go to shelters and they can't find their owners. And so we were talking, and I'd mentioned using QR codes on pet tags, and she loved that. And so we decided that we were going to come out with a line of pet tags with QR codes. And then I was, thinking about it. I thought, well, that is great for the average person with a smartphone. However, all the new phones coming out have NFC or NFC enabled. All the new Android phones, it's heavily rumored that the new iPhone is going to be NFC enabled, and I'm pretty sure it will be.
Yeah.
It'd be pretty major to overlook that in this new phone. But so we decided to, with our line, to also have them NFC enabled. So if you do have an NFC capable phone, you don't even have to scan anything. You just put it near the tag, and it's going to pop up the pet profile so you can get a hold of the owner. And one of the great things about it is if your pet is already chipped, it's a great supplement to that, because if someone finds your pet, they have to have that special wand to read the chip, and then they call an 800 number or whatever, an operator, to connect you with the owner. Right. Whereas with these NFC QR code tags, you can either scan the QR code and pop up the pet profile with the owner's information, or if you have an NFC phone, you can just put the phone near the tag and it pops up the information for you. Makes it super easy, and you don't have to take the pet to a vet or to a shelter. Right. The person can do it themselves. And then we also decided to add in the ability to send a text message for people that don't have smartphones, where they can just text message the serial number and it'll come back with the owner information on their non-smartphone.
That's cool. Love that. And what's the name of this? Is it a new company or is it a product?
It's actually a new company. It's a joint venture. It's called Techie Pets. TECHIEPETS.com.
TechiePets.com.
Yeah, well, our Twitter's up, our Facebook's up. The website doesn't launch until the 1st, because we decided to add a couple little features to the site to help owners, like the ability to find out where their pet's tag has been scanned. For instance, if somebody scans their pet tag, they'll know about it.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, so just, you can't really, there are GPS collars for pets. They're super expensive, and the reliability is so-so. So this is kind of the next best thing, and while keeping it affordable.
That's fun. Yeah, it's just if you sit and just get creative with how we could use this technology that, with more and more people toting their smartphones, we have to think about our business and how can we get our information into the hands of our consumers easier.
Mm-hmm.
Making it simple. Which I love.
And also, another thing that we're just starting to offer is medical ID bracelets, because my daughter is type 1 diabetic, but she's 15 years old. She's a teenager. She doesn't like wearing those medical alert bracelets.
Okay,
They're,
right.
you know, it's hard enough being a teenager and being diabetic.
Right.
And, you know, so I thought, well, what can I do for her that will allow, in an emergency situation, allow somebody to get her information, yet still be somewhat kind of cool. And so I started thinking about using QR code tags for the same information. And she likes it because it looks like any other, you know, rubber bracelet thingy that her friends wear. It just happens that when you scan the QR code, you can get her emergency information and that she's diabetic. So, you know, now the big thing is just making sure that medical first responders are aware that this is an alternative to a
I was going to say, that's the key, is do people know to look for, even on dogs, like you mentioned, my daughter's dog is microchipped, and, you know, if he runs away, people don't know.
Right.
To, you know, how would you know to even check if a dog is microchipped? So, you know, I think that is the challenge, is getting people realizing, okay, there's other ways to look for information, scan codes, things, and it's just, I'm just surprised it hasn't adopted, you know, a wider adoption faster. I'm just shocked by how many people are still, no, I've never scanned one of those. What are they? It's like they're in every store window. They're in every magazine you read.
Yeah, but a lot of times, I mean, in people's defense, a lot of times they'll see it, have no idea what it's called or how to even scan it, and the code won't even say scan me or download a scanner here. There's lots of things as business owners, if we're using the technology, that we should do to help educate people. You know, it's going to benefit us, but it's also going to benefit our people that look to us for information. So I think if more businesses would maybe put themselves in the place of the consumer and think, okay, what would I need to know? What would I like to know? It would help change around the mentality a little bit.
That is a smart tip for businesses. Put little things under your QR codes, and people that are in training who use a lot of QR codes, put some instructions there.
So do you recommend in from a marketing venue, if you have any kind of literature, brochures, anything else, always include a QR code?
It certainly doesn't hurt. They don't take up much real estate. It's, you know, there's no additional cost to add it on there. And I would just say that if you're going to do that, do it right. Make sure that if it's going to lead you to a website, make sure it's mobile friendly. And you know, and consider adding some value to your QR code, like have it do something, either download your contact information or go to a coupon if you have a retail product. Just make sure that the code is going to add value for people. They're going to appreciate it. And one thing I tell people, and I think you'll probably be able to appreciate this, Gina, is QR codes are conversation starters.
Right.
If you have it on your business card, and where someone would just tuck away your card, oh, hey, thanks, you know. And so they see that, it's like, oh, what's that? Or if you have a designer code that is intriguing, oh, that's pretty neat, that's cool, or oh, I've seen QR codes, that's a neat way to do it. It gets that conversation started, and you know, as a business person, anytime you can engage with someone, they're going to remember you and your business.
Right.
So than if it's simply, here's my card, nice to see you. Yeah.
I love your gallery. While you were talking earlier, I brought up your gallery on
Quicker.
Yeah, quicker.me. I keep wanting to say kick, and then I was like, no, wait, it's quicker.me. The wine bottle label, there's another brilliant, like there's so many really cute ideas that when you start looking for inspiration, the guitar, you know, it's like there's just some really cool, these designer ones are amazing.
Thanks. I meant to upload some of the newer ones that I've done. One of my clients, Sean DeParent for Sean TV, her logo has a TV in it, so her TV screen is actually a QR code in the screen, which is kind of cute and very easy to scan, which is important.
Yeah, so, you hang in good circles. Shout out to Sean and to Jackie. I love all Jackie's posts on Facebook.
That's awesome. Love Jackie.
I'm like, this woman is, I need to meet her.
Talk about the kindest heart. I'm not kidding you. She has the kindest heart of anyone I've ever met. Amazing.
Seems like a neat lady.
Now, what kind of software do you use to create a QR code?
Yeah, I was going to ask you. You're making these for other people. Is that correct?
Yes. Most of the time I use Karen's website, Karen Urkum. I can't pronounce it properly. I'm sorry. it's a link, but the guy who created Crafter, he has a free website where you can download codes. There is a QR code generator on my site, and it will do a basic code, I think in 2 colors, but I take the raw code in an EPS format, and then I modify it in Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. So, because the things that I do with warping the squares into circles and different techniques, that has to be done through Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator or some type of a graphic software.
These are cool. These are really cool. I think it's, again, for us to get creative in business, intrigue people, entice them to want to know more about us and our products and services. And, this is a great, like you said, great conversational piece. And it's a great leave behind on anything that we leave behind to allow people to then scan for more info.
That's great.
And also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, we're almost at the end of the show, but how's a good way for people to get a hold of you?
I would say through the website, quicker.me. If you go to quicker.me/QRKim, it is my profile has every possible social media outlet that I'm on. You're welcome to create your own profile. It's free. It's also great. It's a great place to put your information to give to clients. It generates a QR code, your personal QR code for you, so you can use that code, and then your customers, whatever, will always know where to find you at all times, which you may or may not want, depending.
Yeah.
There, and QR Kim on Twitter.
Yeah, on Twitter it's easy. QR Kim. It's like short, sweet, easy to remember. There's just so many cool things that you're doing, and it's exciting to get to learn more about even the pet business that you're venturing in with Jackie and the gang, I guess I should say. It looks like you've got a great team of people working on this, and it's just again, I think it's very forward thinking, and I think for people who think QR codes are dead, I think it's just we haven't come into them yet. We still have not realized their potential.
Right, and people will. They're learning. There's a huge increase in just awareness of QR codes over last year. When I put up Quicker is pretty new. It's only been around a year. And when I first put it up, no one even knew what it was about. What's that for? Why would I need that? Why would I want that?
Why would I need that? You're right.
Yeah. So it's coming along. And if I throw in one little thing real quick, a great thing to use QR codes is use a link shortener like Bitly or whatever, because then you can track yourself who's scanning your code.
Smart. Yeah, I love that. Well, Kim, it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
Thank you. I'm so pleased that you invited me. Thank you so much.
We need to just load up all the kids in a bus and go hang out and talk tech all day.
Well, we're going to hang out with you because you're in Colorado, and
come on out.
Gorgeous.
I'll let you scan my QR code. You'll have my address and just come on out.
Perfect.
Thank you so much. This has been awesome.
That is an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Rick, thank you. Excellent host.
Really appreciate it. All right, everybody. We'll see you guys next week on... Well, actually, no. Let's see. Gina, we are off for a couple of weeks now, right?
I think so. I end up hitting the road and doing my kind of world tour. Spain, London, Boston, San Diego, and then Altoona, Iowa. Shout out to you.
We're in San Diego.
Yeah, I know. I am coming to San Diego.
I'm gonna have to go meet you.
Yeah, I'll send you the date. I'm doing a conference down at the San Diego Convention Center. So
awesome.
Yeah, that would be fun.
That would be very fun.
That sounds great. So we'll see you guys next week. Well, actually, in about 3 weeks.
Yeah, well, watch Twitter and Facebook.
And we'll announce it.
SchreckTeck info.
Gina's on the road.
Maybe
I was on the road last week, so it's your turn 2 weeks.
I know.
She gets 2. I get 1. Something's wrong with
Have a great week, everyone.
Have a good one, everybody. Thanks, Kim.
Hi, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.